Jesus once said, "The kingdom of God is at hand." He also said in many ways, in many different kinds of situations, that it was here. The kingdom of God is already here. The guy that came before Jesus, John the Baptist, also said, and not necessarily these words, but the kingdom of God is here. Be ready, be prepared. Prepare for the way of the Lord. But we look at the world around us, these 2,000 years later, and we think, what in the world was Jesus thinking? It's pretty obvious to those of us living in this world that the kingdom of God isn't exactly here yet. We have wars, many, many wars. We have injustice to people, like the black people in the United States and many other peoples across the world, and the indigenous people in Canada, and we have diseases that kill indiscriminately, young and old, good and bad. We have governments that are very obviously corrupt. We have churches that are corrupt. We have pastors and leaders who are very questionable in their morals and their actions. The kingdom of God is obviously not here. Not yet. Or is it? Spending this week here on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and you can see here in front of me the shore. And this is what some people would call a liminal space. It's a space where there's not exactly a sharp border. Tell me, where exactly does the ocean end and the land begin? Or the land end and the ocean begin? Or look at the horizon out there. It kind of looks like a sharp line between sky and sea. But it's not really. When clouds and fog come down, then is there a limit? We were out on the Jockey Ridge's sand dunes, and it went straight from forest, but not to dunes. There was a space in between where there was some trees mixed in with the sand. Not exactly a clear line. But yet they're both there. Sea and land both occupy the same place. You can see where the sand stirs up into the waves and where the water soaks into the sand. They combine, they mix, they blend. They're both separate. Water and sand are two different things, but yet they occupy the same space. And I wonder sometimes if that's what the kingdom of heaven is like right now. Everyone wants to be able to say, here it is, there it's not. There's a clear line marked in the sand. This is the beginning and that's the end. And I'm not sure exactly that's true. Jesus' words inaugurated the kingdom of heaven, said it has begun. But by no means did he say it is complete right now. Yeah, sure, some of you will say, but he said it is finished on the cross. So, his work was finished, but there's still work to be done. And I wonder if that's maybe one of the lessons that we as the church need to take. We've spent literally 2,000 years trying to draw lines to be able to say in the sand, this line on this side here is the kingdom, and on that side is not. But I wonder if maybe our churches, our worship spaces, our activities, our missions are more like the shoreline here. Turbulent, stirred up, chaotic, a mix and a blend of sand and surf, where sometimes the sky is here, sometimes the sea is here, Sometimes we're in the sand, sometimes we're in the water. When we worship God, we are entering in that liminal space where the kingdom of heaven and the kingdom of earth meet together and mix. And it is not so easy sometimes to tell the difference. We like to be certain about where the beginning is and where the end is. We like to know where the start and the finish is. But I think this liminal idea is important for us to remember. And I think it even goes along with that chaotic surf there. Sometimes it swirls, sometimes it seems messy and mixed up and confused. All the sand and the water and the air and the bubbles, they all just kind of mix up together, and it's hard sometimes to see where one begins and the other ends. But yet we live in that space. We occupy it. And we who have seen the kingdom and have experienced it in the love of Christ, in what He has done for us, where He has loved us, no matter where we are we in the deep ocean or are we on the dry land? It doesn't matter. He loves us right where we are. Those of us who have experienced that, living in that chaotic swirl and turbulent mess of the foam of the waves, can point to where we see it, where we can see that kingdom, where we can see the cool refreshment of the water, where we can see God's love just washing over us, and point the way and say, here's the kingdom. That is the mission of the church, to go into those turbulent spaces, or to bring the turbulence with us sometimes, to occupy the middle of the space of the world and give witness to here's the kingdom. I'm living in it. It's all around you. It may not feel like it, but here it is. I think that's where we need to go. I think that we as the church need to stop drawing our lines in the sand. At least not quite so harshly. And start to recognize that we're living in the mix. We're living in the mess. We're living in the swirl and the tumble of the liminal space. The kingdom of God is here, but it also isn't here at the very same time. Let's live like we are here in it, but not confuse the turbulence with the truth. Let's not deny the turbulence. Let's not deny the doubt and the swirl. Which way is land? Which way is up? Which way is sea? Let's remember that we are here. Let's live in the tension of the borderlines, of that mix between light and dark that comes at twilight, that mix of sand and sea that comes at the shore, the mix of forest and dune that comes at the border. This is where we are. The kingdom is here, but not yet. The kingdom is here, but not yet. Embrace the liminal spaces of life. Embrace the borders that are not so clear. And maybe, perhaps, we shall find once again what it means to live in the kingdom, to be in the world, but not of it.